So we're here at the packing facility for the San Jose COVID Food Relief Program. Today's our launch, and we got a huge batch of organic groceries delivered by farmers this morning, and now we have a bunch of volunteers back here packing those groceries into boxes, and we have couriers showing up to take those and whisk them away to people's homes.
Isolation is a huge issue, so the fact that someone is able to bring food to your door and then you're connected now to a community of resources is huge for a lot of people. And a lot of these farmers, they're essential workers, so this is even more of an important time to be supporting them. And Vegilution is kind of being that bridge between, community who needs food and the farmers herself looking for that outlet. We're able to work in partnership with Off the Grid to make that connection.
Our passion has always been around nurturing and supporting local food communities. So when COVID hit earlier this year, we weren't able to organize the sorts of large community gatherings that we've become known for. As we quickly realized, there were many populations across the Bay Area that needed help, that weren't able to go out and get groceries and prepare meals or go out to restaurants. And on the flip side, the other part of our ecosystem is local restaurants were really decimated by the impact of the shutdown.
When we start doing with Off the Grid, it was basically a game changer. All we needed was like a little bit of funding. So I think we also, on our side, we wanted to make sure all these people got all the best products from wild salmon, farmers market producers. So it was not only it helped us, I think financially, I think also professionally. It was one of the most confident I had been in years.
Looking at 2020, we are poised for the most amazing year, I think, like a lot of people. And we had so much optimism with how great we were going to do. We had our product, our process, everything was on point. And then COVID happened. We've had to deal with extreme heat wave and also huge wildfires here in California. So 2020 has been the most crazy year for all of us, but especially in the food business.
I think that we actually had an early view into the pandemic because a lot of the corporate catering we do was for tech companies, and a lot of the tech companies were pulling out their meetings a lot earlier than any lockdowns that the city had imposed, which was very worrying to see a whole revenue line just trickling down to zero. So we're hopeful that corporate catering comes back. But in the interim period, Off the Grid helps us to keep feeding large groups of people, which basically bridges the gap of that corporate catering income and allows us to essentially keep our doors open.
Usually in a restaurant, it takes two, we say. Now, since we don't have the front of the house, so I think OTG became highly valuable in terms of just making sure all the logistics are worked out, what kind of orders, the dietary restrictions, and then also coordinating with the transportation. And I'm just been actually focusing on my cooking.
Off the Grid has done a great job of working with the community to figure out what the needs are, both with people that are in a high-risk situation to be able to go out and get food, to their current markets that they operate and expanding those markets. So we've delivered bowls and plates with our vans through Pescadero to Fire Relief at Pie Ranch, and then we've also been up to San Francisco to deliver food through Great Plates.
When it comes to emergency relief, I think several things are really important to doing that well. The first thing is speed of mobilization, communication, and trust between many different organizations that have to come together, whether that's government agencies, local nonprofits, restaurants. And I think as we get more sophisticated at ramping programs around aid, technology has an increasingly important role to play in terms of bringing on local creators into an application where they can receive orders from us digitally, routing those orders to couriers digitally so that they know where to pick the food up from and where to deliver it, as well as communicating with recipients when they have access to a smartphone, being able to let them know that there's food on the way. And perhaps most importantly, we are passionate about serving food communities, and I think that passion translates to commitment and to dedication to running great relief programs for people.
For me personally, I think food is an important aspect when it comes to like mental health and social health. And this is a time when we need that the most. Literally, when we were setting up the boxes this morning and packing the first one, some of our staff were talking about how would they use that box to make a recipe, the ingredients they would use, or how would they cook something. And that to me that's the point of this, is that they're able to connect with each other. And there's like a moment of hope, right? It's like prepare, respond, recover. Then there's also this aspect of like rejoice needs to be brought into that. And I think that's what food is. It's a moment to rejoice, it's a moment to reflect, to connect with each other. And to be able to do that through food that was meaningfully harvested is even more valuable because it shows up, on the plate and in the flavor of the food itself.
One of the most important lessons I've learned through this pandemic is about the way we think how food is produced as a chef. For us, it was a perfect opportunity in terms of like thinking for the future.
I wake up in the morning and I start cooking to feed my family. And so to be able to continue to feed the extended family, which is essentially our community, it's really heartening to know that I can just be myself and continue to feed our community.
This is something it feeds your soul. It makes you happy, it gives you hope, and it gives you, just that extra love that you need to get through the day and to know that tomorrow's gonna be better.